On June 12, 2025, a clear day at Ahmedabad airport seemed like any other, but no one knew it would soon become a day of horror. With confidence and excitement, travelers boarded Air India Flight 171, a state-of-the-art Boeing 787 Dreamliner destined for London. But just 30 seconds after lifting off, the unthinkable struck, sending the plane plummeting back to Earth, leaving a trail of devastation. In an instant, 260 lives were lost, including 241 passengers and crew, and 19 innocent victims on the ground below. Yet, amidst this catastrophe, one person astonishingly survived. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a British citizen of Indian descent. What terrifying flaw could bring down one of aviation's most advanced aircraft so swiftly? And how did fate spare a single life in a disaster of this magnitude? The shocking truth behind Air India 171 waits to be uncovered, shrouded in mystery and darkness. Let's find out with mindgap. The tragic crash of Air India Flight 171 happened in a heartbeat, but the chilling memories it left behind continue to haunt the world. It was a bright afternoon on June 12, 2025, at precisely 1:39 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 8:09 a.m. UTC, at Ahmedabad's busy Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. The scene appeared routine as the Boeing 787 Dreamliner gently took to the skies, carrying passengers settling in for their flight to London. Nothing seemed out of place as the aircraft climbed to an altitude of 625 feet, 190 meters. Suddenly, the engines lost all power without warning, plunging the plane into chaos. In the cockpit, the pilots instantly understood something was gravely wrong. A sharp, urgent voice shouted over the radio, "Mayday! Mayday! Engines losing thrust!" The message echoed desperation, but no time left for a response. The enormous aircraft, packed with unsuspecting passengers and crew, fell rapidly from the sky, crashing violently into the BJ Medical College hostel below. The impact unleashed an explosion powerful enough to shake buildings miles away, instantly transforming the calm afternoon into a nightmare. Witnesses on the ground were stunned by the horror unfolding before their eyes. Thick, choking black smoke billowed high above the wreckage, punctuated by the terrifying crackle of burning debris. Metal shards flew violently through the air, smashing windows and damaging nearby structures. One onlooker described it vividly. It felt like the end of the world. The sound was deafening, like a thunderous explosion, and pieces of the plane just rained down everywhere. The human toll was devastating. In a matter of seconds, 260 lives were tragically ended, including all 241 passengers and crew aboard, and 19 innocent medical students residing in the hostel whose futures and aspirations vanished in a fiery instant. The heartbreaking numbers made headlines worldwide, turning shock into sorrow and disbelief into anger, prompting immediate questions about how such a modern aircraft could fail catastrophically in mere moments. As emergency crews sifted through the smoldering ruins, attention quickly shifted to the investigation. Authorities retrieved the black boxes, hoping these crucial devices would unravel the tragedy's mysterious cause. What they found shocked everyone. The cockpit voice recorder revealed a bizarre and troubling dialogue between the pilots immediately after takeoff. One pilot questioned sharply, "Why did you cut the fuel?" The other responded anxiously, "I didn't touch anything." This puzzling exchange hinted at a deeply concerning scenario, raising a chilling possibility that the crash could have been caused by either a mechanical failure or human error. The flight data recorder provided further disturbing evidence, revealing that the fuel control switches had shifted abruptly from run to cutoff shortly after takeoff. This unexpected discovery bewildered investigators, as activating this switch required deliberate force. How could such a critical and secure control have moved unintentionally or unnoticed? Historical records brought even more troubling news. As early as 2018, The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, warned airlines about potential issues with the fuel switches on Boeing 787 aircraft. Air India, however, had considered this warning non-mandatory, failing to implement recommended inspections. This omission was now under intense scrutiny, fueling anger and demands for accountability. As the investigation deepened, international aviation experts from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, and the UK's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AAIB, joined the case. Their arrival signaled the complexity and gravity of the situation, as experts pored meticulously over every detail, determined to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, prominent media outlets like the BBC and NPR conducted independent analyses, revealing unsettling insights. They reported that Air India had a troubling track record of slow maintenance practices and overlooked safety checks. NPR quoted an aviation safety expert stating grimly, "This wasn't random bad luck. This was neglect, plain and simple. They were gambling with safety." Each new revelation intensified public outrage and grief, pressuring investigators to clarify whether the disaster was preventable. As days turned into weeks, families of the victims, aviation experts, and concerned citizens worldwide awaited conclusive answers. The pressing question remained unanswered. Was this a catastrophic mechanical failure, an overlooked maintenance error, or a fatal mistake in the cockpit? Despite extensive evidence and exhaustive efforts by investigators, the mystery persisted. The case of Air India Flight 171 became a disturbing example of how modern aviation, reliant on advanced technology and rigorous safety standards, could still be vulnerable to catastrophic failure. It served as a powerful and painful reminder of aviation's fragile relationship with technology, human oversight, and the ever-present need for vigilance and safety practices. With the cause still unknown, the world waits, hoping the lessons from this disaster will prevent future tragedies. As investigators continue their grim task, the truth behind Air India Flight 171's devastating final moments remains hidden, wrapped tightly in secrecy and tragedy. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, the sole survivor of the Air India Flight 171 crash, became the center of worldwide attention overnight. At age 40, Ramesh, a British citizen of Indian heritage, was returning home to London after visiting family in Ahmedabad. Settling into seat 11A, near the emergency exit, he was unaware that his ordinary trip would become extraordinary and tragic. The instant the aircraft hit the ground was pure chaos, a brutal clash of noise, panic, and disbelief. Initially, everything seemed normal. The engines roared, and the plane ascended steadily. Suddenly, the engines stopped abruptly, and the aircraft plummeted uncontrollably. Screams echoed through the cabin, the air filled with smoke, and terror engulfed every passenger. Ramesh vividly recalled the moment of impact, describing the sensation as being violently thrown into another world. Miraculously, he was ejected through a fissure in the plane's structure, landing roughly but alive on a patch of grass nearby. When he regained awareness, his body was bruised, his mind clouded by shock, yet he had survived. His incredible survival immediately made headlines worldwide, captivating millions on social media, especially on platforms like X, where his story resonated deeply with a global audience. Americans were particularly drawn to his miraculous escape, extensively sharing and reposting details of his survival. Overnight, Ramesh transformed into an international figure, symbolizing hope amid devastation. People expressed disbelief at his extraordinary fortune, one user noting it seemed straight out of a Hollywood film. Yet behind the fame was a profound personal struggle, a story marked by survival and painful loss. In an emotional interview with the New York Times, Ramesh openly shared his grief, stating, "I can't believe I'm still here, but I only wish I could have saved my brother too." His older brother had been seated a few rows away, and the painful memory of their last moments together haunted him deeply. Their plans for family gatherings, simple pleasures like sharing tea, became heartbreaking reminders of what was irretrievably lost. His honesty resonated strongly with people worldwide, humanizing the overwhelming tragedy, bringing tears and empathy to countless viewers. Survival experts pointed out that Ramesh's seat choice near the emergency exit was critical to his miraculous escape. The impact and structural breakage of the aircraft near his location allowed him to be propelled clear of the fiery aftermath. Analysts described his survival odds as astronomical, labeling his experience as a rare alignment of chance and positioning. Despite expert analysis and public fascination, Ramesh struggled to comprehend his extraordinary luck, burdened instead by intense survivor's guilt, replaying the event repeatedly in his mind. Days turned into weeks, and while physical wounds began to heal, emotional scars lingered profoundly. Nighttime was the hardest, filled with vivid nightmares and the haunting presence of those lost. "Every time I close my eyes, I see my brother," Ramesh confessed quietly during another media encounter. Specialists explained that Ramesh was experiencing survivor's guilt, a complex emotional response commonly seen in disaster survivors. Despite professional counseling and support, he wrestled continuously with feelings of gratitude overshadowed by intense sorrow. Yet, as time passed, Ramesh gradually turned his traumatic experience into an inspiring message. His interviews became platforms advocating greater appreciation for life's fragility and the importance of family connections. His humility and down-to-earth demeanor resonated powerfully, making him even more relatable and admired. Social media continued to elevate his profile, transforming him into an icon of hope and resilience. His story had an especially significant impact throughout America, reflecting the country's appreciation for stories of human endurance and triumph over adversity. People wrote messages of support, created artwork inspired by his experience, and engaged deeply with his ongoing journey. "Ramesh proves anything is possible," was one widely shared sentiment, encapsulating his broader cultural significance. However, behind public adoration, questions about the crash intensified. Investigators and the public sought a more profound understanding, motivated by Ramesh's experience, to uncover what precisely went wrong aboard Air India Flight 171. His survival inadvertently spotlighted troubling issues related to airline maintenance, safety procedures, and regulatory oversight, compelling authorities worldwide to take urgent action and reconsider aviation safety standards. Eventually, Ramesh returned to London, striving to rebuild his life. Regular medical checkups monitored his physical recovery, while psychological support continued helping him cope with lingering trauma. He carried a photograph of his brother as a constant reminder and motivation to live meaningfully. "Maybe my survival is a sign for others to cherish life more deeply," he reflected during a later interview, offering a hopeful perspective amidst personal pain. Ramesh's extraordinary journey is a profound reminder of life's unpredictability and resilience. His powerful and human story continues to influence countless individuals, prompting deeper reflection on personal priorities and societal responsibilities towards safety and human life. Ultimately, Ramesh didn't seek fame, but his survival sparked critical conversations about humanity, vulnerability, and the enduring strength in overcoming unimaginable tragedy. The crash of Air India Flight 171 didn't just claim lives, it set off alarm bells throughout the aviation world, shaking the industry's foundations. This tragedy marked the first ever deadly crash involving the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, a jet widely known as one of the safest aircraft ever built. When news of the accident spread, shockwaves rippled across the globe. People everywhere were stunned by the realization that even the most advanced technology could fail spectacularly. Almost immediately, airlines worldwide began urgently re-examining their Dreamliner fleets. NPR reported extensively on how companies swiftly grounded aircraft to run thorough checks. Aviation teams meticulously inspected every mechanical and electronic part, from central systems to minor switches. They sought to reassure nervous passengers that safety was their highest priority. Still, trust was severely shaken, and no one could easily forget what had happened. The regulatory agencies quickly stepped in, driven by intense public pressure and expert calls for urgent action. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, responsible for overseeing aviation safety in the United States, quickly reacted to public concern raised on social media platforms like X. Experts there pointed out possible issues with fuel switches on the Dreamliner, suggesting that regular checks might have prevented the disaster. Taking these recommendations seriously, the FAA started planning mandatory inspections to ensure such a tragedy wouldn't repeat itself. However, this technical response wasn't enough to calm public anxiety completely. According to Wikipedia, the Dreamliner had been considered nearly flawless, with over 1,000 jets flying daily worldwide. But now, passengers questioned this assumption deeply. Many travelers, who previously boarded planes without hesitation, started feeling uneasy. Young passengers particularly shared their fears openly. One college student said, "I used to trust these planes completely, but now I can't help wondering if something else might go wrong." This shift in perception wasn't just about one aircraft, but a loss of confidence in modern aviation altogether. As concerns grew, comparisons arose to past aviation mysteries, notably the unsolved disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. In 2014, Flight 370 vanished without explanation, leaving families and the world grasping for answers. The haunting memory of that unresolved tragedy resurfaced strongly after Flight 171's crash. Even though Flight 171 left tangible evidence, unlike Flight 370, the incident underscored aviation's inherent fragility. Experts echoed sentiments that aviation, despite technological advances, still harbors unpredictability and danger. One aviation engineer stated bluntly, "Even our best machines can't guarantee safety. We're never fully in control." Such historical parallels only deepened the growing fears surrounding modern air travel. This emotional and psychological impact quickly translated into tangible economic and operational consequences. Airlines faced mounting financial pressures as ticket cancellations surged dramatically. Passengers hesitated before booking flights, reconsidering travel plans due to safety doubts. Boeing saw sharp drops in stock value, reflecting the market's shaken confidence in their flagship aircraft. Facing immense scrutiny, the company launched exhaustive internal investigations and external audits to address any flaws, desperate to restore public trust. Meanwhile, aviation analysts publicly debated how deeply systemic the issue might be. Experts raised questions about the pace of technological advancement on forums, news channels, and social media. Had the industry moved too quickly, prioritizing innovation over absolute safety? Critics argued that Boeing, driven by competition and pressure to deliver advanced aircraft rapidly, might have overlooked critical safety checks or maintenance procedures. These debates further complicated efforts to reassure the public, fueling ongoing controversy and speculation. Governments around the world reacted by tightening oversight significantly. Aviation authorities in Europe, Asia, and North America convened emergency meetings, sharing information and strategies to prevent future disasters. They agreed on stricter regulatory measures, enhancing inspection protocols, and mandating increased transparency from manufacturers and airlines alike. This global cooperation reflected a new sense of urgency, recognizing that safety is a collective responsibility demanding international collaboration. Additionally, the crash prompted urgent reviews of airline maintenance practices globally. Independent reports by trusted media organizations like the BBC and NPR highlighted worrying gaps in maintenance standards at Air India, specifically. Investigations revealed prolonged delays in essential inspections and repairs, pointing to potential negligence. Publicly exposed maintenance failures pressured airlines worldwide to reassess their practices, emphasizing accountability and thoroughness in routine checks. This movement towards improved maintenance standards marked a significant step in aviation safety. On a societal level, Flight 171's tragic outcome underscored the necessity of crisis preparedness and psychological support systems for survivors and victims' families. The heartbreaking stories emerging from the crash site emphasize the urgent need for comprehensive care following disasters. Emergency response teams reviewed their procedures, seeking better training to manage future incidents compassionately and effectively. Mental health organizations called for increased resources to support trauma survivors, highlighting the emotional scars disasters leave behind. The crash also significantly impacted public perceptions and expectations of corporate accountability. Citizens and advocacy groups demanded greater transparency from aviation corporations, holding them accountable for their actions. Social media amplified these demands, allowing ordinary people to voice concerns directly, influencing policymakers and company executives. This grassroots pressure ensured that public safety remained a top priority in industry discussions moving forward. Ultimately, the crash of Air India Flight 171 served as a harsh reminder of aviation's vulnerabilities, even amid significant technological progress. It challenged assumptions, triggered global reactions, and reshaped regulatory landscapes significantly. Yet, out of the tragedy came opportunities for meaningful change. The intense scrutiny forced the aviation industry to confront hidden flaws, sparking reforms to prevent similar tragedies. One central truth became evident as investigations continued. Aviation safety isn't a guaranteed state, but an ongoing effort demanding constant vigilance. Society learned that complacency has no place in aviation. The lasting legacy of Flight 171 lies in this critical realization, highlighting humanity's responsibility to maintain continuous oversight, accountability, and improvement to safeguard lives. Moving forward, it's up to airlines, regulators, manufacturers, and travelers alike to remember this lesson and strive diligently for safer skies. The story of Flight 171 remains a powerful testament to the importance of learning from tragedy, ensuring such heartbreaking losses lead to stronger protections and more reliable travel for future generations. From the ashes of Air India Flight 171, the world has gained a painful but powerful reminder. No matter how far we've come in technology, nothing is truly foolproof. The crash didn't just steal lives, it shattered illusions. It proved that even the most trusted machines can fail, and the cost is unbearable when they do. As of now, the exact reason why the Boeing 787 Dreamliner went down remains unclear. Experts continue to examine the black boxes, the fuel system, and pilot communications, hoping for a clear answer. Was it a mechanical flaw? A moment of human error? Or something deeper, buried in the way we design, maintain, and trust our aircraft? We may not know the whole story yet, but what we do know is enough to shake our confidence in the systems we rely on. This tragedy didn't just shake one nation, it reached across continents, igniting a global conversation about air safety. For years, we believed the Dreamliner was among the safest jets in the sky. That belief was built on data, innovation, and the promise of a brighter future. But one crash was enough to remind us that no design can replace the need for vigilance, no matter how advanced. In the aftermath, countries responded. Governments launched inquiries, airlines grounded their planes, and aviation experts spoke out. It was no longer just about Air India or Boeing. It became about how the world sees risk, responsibility, and resilience in the skies. Calls for cooperation grew louder. Safety experts urged that global standards be reviewed and strengthened. Engineers proposed regular inspections for critical components like the fuel cutoff switch, while pilots demanded better training protocols to handle unexpected failures. Even minor oversights, when left unchecked, can lead to disaster. A 2024 International Aviation Safety Board report stated that nearly 80% of aviation accidents stem from preventable issues. That figure hit hard after Flight 171, pushing authorities to rethink what acceptable risk means. It's no longer enough to react after a tragedy. We have to prevent one before it begins. Across airports and maintenance hangars, changes began to take shape. Airlines restructured their safety procedures, implementing tighter checks and more transparent reporting. Conversations turned serious at every level, from aviation classrooms to control towers. The message was clear: we can't afford to be careless. Passengers also changed. Many began questioning aircraft models, checking flight histories, and paying closer attention to safety briefings. It wasn't about fear, it was about awareness. When trust is broken, people don't just forget. They ask more complex questions. Amid all the noise, one voice stood out. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, the lone survivor, clarified the world through his quiet strength. He didn't speak often, but when he did, his words echoed. "Every second I'm alive is a gift," he said, "but it's also a warning." That sentence, simple as it is, went viral. It showed the world what it means to live through something unthinkable and still carry forward. Ramesh became more than a survivor. He became a symbol, not just of luck, but of truth. His story wasn't about fame. It was about loss and about making sure that loss meant something. For young people, his message hit home especially. Many who had never paid attention to flight safety now reconsidered their trust in the world around them. It wasn't about spreading fear. It was about recognizing that life is fragile and deserves our full attention. Ramesh's words were not loud, but they carried weight. He spoke for the voiceless, the passengers who never made it, and the families still asking why. In doing so, he turned survival into service. As the investigation continues, the story of Flight 171 remains open. The wreckage has been cleared, the news cameras have moved on, and the headlines have faded. But for the families, the memory is fresh. For safety officials, the urgency remains. And for the rest of us, the lesson lingers. We can't change what happened, but can choose how we respond. We can demand better checks, stricter rules, and greater accountability. We can listen to the warnings and turn them into action. Ultimately, Flight 171 reminds us that safety isn't a guarantee, it's a responsibility. It's not something we inherit, it's something we build, maintain, and protect daily. The lives lost were more than numbers. They were parents, children, students, and strangers. Their dreams mattered, their stories mattered. And now, it's up to us to honor them by doing better. We owe them that. We owe ourselves that.